We are T minus just a few hours till the SEC championship game. Georgia, Texas. We told you who's going to win. We've told you all the things you need to watch out for, but there's some things that you haven't thought about. And we're going to tell you about those next on the Locked On Bulldogs podcast.
You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Locked On Bulldogs, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. He is Daniel. I am Clint. Together, we're Locked On Bulldogs. If you're here, that means you're a first listener. Every day you wake up, you get this podcast, you pop it in, you go through it. And it doesn't matter, like Gurf, if you're 5 episodes behind, just get caught up. It's the SEC championship.
He'll get caught up by this weekend. He'll get there.
Secondly, thanks for not only being our first listen every day, but also our first listen in the morning, every single day with us and our loyal third segment listeners. So you download first, you listen first, you're here every day, and you stay all the way to the third segment because it's got some really, really good things going on today because we're talking Don't Sleep On. It's the SEC championship. We're not going to bore you with, hey, here's what we're excited about. We're in the SEC championship for the dadgummit. It's exciting. If I gotta make you excited, leave. Just listen to this and you'll get excited, but then leave. Secondly, don't be nervous. Don't be scared. Ain't no reason to be scared. Okay. Well, actually,
let me correct you. There's every reason to be nervous. If you're not already nervous, again, you don't belong here. I'm just afraid we can't be friends is all. If you're not already nervous about everything concerning this.
And lastly, we're going to talk about what not to sleep on. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel, FanDuel.com. Make every moment more, the official sportsbook of Locked On Bulldogs and Locked On Podcasts everywhere. Daniel, we're just going to go rapid fire. We're going to go back and forth. Each segment, we're going to say, let's get to it. Daniel, what should the people not be sleeping on as they tune in Saturday?
Can I paint you a picture, Clint? I've been waiting all week to tell you this. I've been waiting all week.
I want you to wax poetically and make me feel some things.
Sometimes when my wife is telling a story, she is accused by others, never by me. She's accused by others of just dancing around the point that she's making, but never actually saying it.
I would never say that, by the way.
I said others. I didn't say specific people. She can be accused of that. I want to be sure that I'm not doing that. I'm just going to come out and say the thing, and then I'm going to come back around. I'm going to explain it to you, okay?
Okay.
Don't sleep on. If Georgia wins on Saturday.
Here we go. Oh.
They are going to play in the national championship game, and you can take that to the bank. It is a stone cold lock that if Georgia wins on Saturday, it will be a 1-game season for the national championship on January the 20th. All right, let me explain. Let me show my work here.
You have to. You need to.
Georgia wins on Saturday. What do we know? We know that Georgia's going to be the 2 seed. All right, either Penn State or Oregon is going to be the 1 seed. There's no chance that Penn State, who's ranked 2 spots higher than Georgia right now and would have beaten the number 1 team in the country, would not be ranked higher than Georgia, who they're ranked 2 spots higher than right now.
Just trying to get at you.
Penn State's the 1 seed or Oregon is the 1 seed. Okay? Georgia's the 2 seed. We don't know who the 3 seed is. I'll come back to that in a second. We don't know who the 4 seed is. I'll come back to that in a second. Here's what matters. Let me do the math for you. The 5 and 6 seeds will be some order of Texas and the Big Ten loser. Okay?
That makes sense.
So Texas and Penn State and Oregon are ranked 1, 2, 3 right now. Yeah. If two of those teams lose on Saturday, then they're going to go down to 5 and 6. Now, may it be Texas 5 and Penn State 6? Maybe. Might it be Oregon 5 and Texas 6? Maybe. But spoiler alert, Georgia fans, it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter.
Texas and the Big Ten loser will be 5 and 6, which moves Notre Dame down to 7. Notre Dame would be locked in. If Georgia wins on Saturday, I am here to tell you, if you're a Notre Dame Fighting Irish fan and you've somehow found this podcast, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish will be the number 7 seed in the college football playoff. It is a certainty. Let me tell you what else is a certainty, Clint. SMU and Alabama are battling it out for the last spot. That is assuming SMU loses. If SMU wins, Alabama has the last spot. We know that. If SMU loses, it's going to be Alabama and SMU battling out for the 11 seed. The 11 seed is taken. That's my point, Clint.
This is what you're trying to say. It's gone. It's locked in. Great.
Which means that Indiana is a lock. No matter what happens on Saturday, Indiana fans, you are the 10 seed in the college football playoff. Okay.
Now this is really interesting for you and I. He's laying the foundation. The cake ingredients are on the counter. Now, Daniel, whip it all together.
7 plays 10 in the opening round.
So
that's talking Notre Dame, Indiana, a battle for the state of Indiana. I'll tune in. I'll watch 2 teams from Indiana battling out in the college football playoff. Who had that preseason?
I won't visit, but I'll watch.
Yeah, sure. That game will be in Notre Dame Stadium. Notre Dame versus Indiana. The winner of that game will play Georgia in the second round. I repeat, the 2 teams are Indiana and Notre Dame. So that's your quarterfinal matchup, Georgia fans. If you win this game on Saturday, you have a bye, and then you have the winner of Indiana, Notre Dame. Now, we beat that team. I don't think I have to explain to you how and why we beat that team. We'll move on. And then you're going to play the 3 seed. Okay, the 3 seed is going. Oregon. The 3 seed's not Oregon. The 3 seed is some combination of SMU, Arizona State.
Oh, here we go.
Boise State.
Yeah.
I don't think it can't be Clemson.
It can't be Clemson.
But the 3 seed is going to play the 6 seed in this matchup. Okay. So in the previous round, 3 plays 6. So one of those teams is going to match up against probably Penn State, Clint.
Oh, no.
So when Penn State beats that team, or when SMU beats Penn State, whichever, what I'm telling you is you're going to play in the semifinals
against
either Penn State, or Arizona State, SMU, Clemson, Boise State. Like, there's no path in which you run up against Ohio State. There's no path in which you run up against Tennessee. There's no path in which you run up against Alabama. There's no path in which you run up against Oregon or Texas.
See what he's saying?
All of those teams would be on the other side of the bracket, and you would just coast into the national championship game. Guys, this is the most important game of the season for Georgia fans for so many reasons. If you're going to tell me that both teams are in regardless, I'm going to tell you you're not thinking clearly. If Georgia wins this game, it is a lock. We are going to the national championship game.
And this is why. And you know what? But don't sleep on me putting out names, because I'm done with the foolishness. Graham Coffey, you're an idiot for suggesting we shouldn't have gone to the SEC and not wanting it. You're a moron. Anybody who said, let's rest up. The SEC championship has lost.
A bye is not really that important. Having a higher seed's not really that important. I just laid you out a path in which you avoid Oregon, Ohio State, Tennessee, Texas, and Alabama, but all of the toughest teams in the playoff.
Let's have a 1 week more bye before a 2 week lull, and then play a game in Athens, because that's more important than matching up against teams to win the whole dang thing. Like, anybody who told you, who did the college football math and said a not making the SEC championship and getting a bye is better for us, 1, doesn't know ball. 2, doesn't want Georgia to win the whole thing. And 3, takes moral victory laps with Alabama hanging up a Mickey Mouse banner.
Being excited that they're better than South Carolina.
That's the same energy. Y'all, SEC
We win this game, we're playing for the national championship.
Huge. Seeding is big.
It's significant.
We're going to come back after this and we're going to talk more about Don't Sleep On. But first, these. Daniel and I love a great deal, much as the next guys and gals, but
we do.
I'm not going to crawl into New Orleans down any sort of street, down any side street with somebody with a hat and a
Not
cane.
intentionally.
Not intentionally. I'm not going to do it.
No.
I might. Otherwise,
Things happen.
But I still like a deal. I'm not going to go over it. But what if I tell you that the deal is there and you don't have to do any seedy stuff? That's where Mint Mobile comes in. It's easy to get wireless for $15 a month with the purchase of a 3-month plan. I called them on it. Turns out it really is that easy to get wireless for $15 a month. The longest part was actually just breaking up with my current carrier. Get started. Go to mintmobile.com/lockedoncollege. There you'll see that right now, all 3-month plans are only $15 a month, including the unlimited plan. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered to the nation's largest 5G network. You can use your own phone with Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with you. Find out how easy it is. Mint Mobile. Get 3 months premium wireless for $15 a month. Get this new customer 3-month premium wireless plan, $15 a month. Go to mintmobile.com/lockedoncollege. It's mintmobile.com/lockedoncollege. Cut your wireless bill down to just infinitesimal $15 a month for the first 3 months. New customers only on a first 3-month plan only. Speeds slower above 40 gigabytes on a limited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details. Daniel, you gave the people that the SEC championship game is important because of seeding, because it gets us to, and it gets us coasting against teams like Boise State or Arizona State, SMU, Notre Dame, Indiana. Those are not the cream of the crop. Tennessee, better than those. Alabama, same class, just with a granite block for a running back, quarterback. Ohio State still got dudes on that roster. Oregon, probably the best team in the field so far. We bypass all of them. That's why this is crucial. That's why it's important. And that's why you play to win the games.
Just to be clear, the alternative scenario is, because I think if you're a Georgia fan, you could map out both scenarios pretty easily.
Yeah.
The alternative scenario is we lose the game.
Okay.
Georgia is almost certainly going to be the 7 seed in this playoff, which means now we host a game against Indiana. Okay. So there's a first round I feel pretty darn good about, right? Second round, rematch with Texas right away. Okay.
It's not the worst.
It's not the worst thing in the world. No. You play a team for a third time. You beat them once. They beat you once. You play them one more time. If you win that game, you could potentially have Alabama next. So it is a more difficult path, I'll say. But in both scenarios,
those teams that I listed that are above the cream of the crop, we don't play them.
First of all, if you circle the teams that you really don't want to play in this playoff, if you're Georgia, you're going to save on ink because it's not that many. There's not that many really scary teams in this playoff.
2.5 teams.
Sort of. And
I say Ohio State's the half because
without Ryan Day's still the coach, I think, right?
Because he's still the coach.
Okay. So never beaten anyone in a big game.
And their quarterback is not Milroe and can't throw. So Okay. Cool. Here's what not to sleep on. Okay. If I come on this overreaction podcast, and we've been doing a little of this, and if you are a first every day or a first listener, you know this name. But I'm just going to set you up. Since Steve Sarkisian can't help but be himself, Lane Kiffin changed. Steve Sarkisian cannot. I've watched too many daggum games this year of Texas to think that he can change a game plan. He won't. He will start Quinn Ewers at quarterback. He doesn't want to, but he will. He will try to throw the ball against Georgia. He will let him sit back there in 4-step, 5-step drop passes with some play action to try to get movement going with motion, try to get eyes going, and it won't matter because, ladies and gentlemen, if that's the case, we're not going to be in run heavy sets that much. And Daniel, I just want to ask you of a name of a gentleman who comes in on passing downs, who has been on this podcast called the best linebacker in coverage that we have seen this year. I said coverage. I didn't say blitzing. I didn't say run. I said in coverage. He is long, lean, athletic, and comes downhill in pass coverage to take on the underneath routes with authority. His name's Chris Cole. And don't sleep on him being the MVP of this game. No. I didn't say defensive MVP. I didn't say that. I didn't mince words. I think we're going to be fine on offense. But if Steve Sarkisian wants to go ahead and play that game, Kirby Smart says, okay, let me roll out some really athletic dudes. Let me blitz Smile Mondin in some sets because he's good at that.
Yeah. Also, Smile Mondin is back. Didn't play in this game last time.
Oh, no.
He's back. Offers a significant boost to Georgia defensively. Significant boost in terms of the ability to shut down the run and force Texas to be pass heavy, which will be the biggest key to the game. We've said
that's it. That's the key to the game. Jalen Walker, Michael Williams, I think are going to be fine off the edges, but I cannot see a repeat performance of what they did in which they made themselves a bunch of money. It's foolishness to expect that. So you have to go hunting elsewhere. Don't sleep on Chris Cole being that dude. Don't sleep on him getting a pick. Don't sleep on him baiting and underthrow. Don't sleep on him. We saw CJ Allen do this in previous games. In the Tennessee game, we saw him actually have some pretty good coverage, all things considered. I was very happy with CJ Allen. But Chris Cole elevates that game. He's a different beast when it comes to that side. So don't sleep on him being the performer that we look back on and say, he took care of the screen game, which Sark loves the screen game.
Loves the outside screen.
Let me repeat, loves the screen game. We used to call it tunnel screen, the RPO screen, the underneath stuff, the two-man game with the wide receiver. Chris Cole's the answer to that because he's going to be coming inside out, running sideline to sideline with his athleticism, going against wide receivers, but he is nearly as fast but they are not nearly as big and as tough as he is. The screen game could be neutralized by him. He could be in on second down, third down if Sark comes in with those passing sets for the screens, for the underneath, for the motions, getting guys mismanaged all over the place. That's what he's going to try to do. Even with the fly sweep game and the double pitches and all that stupid stuff that he showed all year long. It's a fancy way to dress up a counter. It's a run counter game that they do with a wide receiver. Chris Cole's the answer to it, Daniel. I think CJ is going to be fine. I think Smile Mon is going to be fine. I actually think Raylan Wilson plays in this game quite a bit because I think the linebackers are going to be running a lot in this game. That's why Chris Cole is going to be so important for us. He's a freshman. He's coming in, and again, athleticism. Find ball, see ball, go get ball. Kirby's going to simplify down, and I really think that he's going to be MVP for this game. I'm calling my shot. Don't sleep on it.
Yeah, I mean, let you say MVP. I say Chris Cole pick six. I think we're going to see a Chris Cole pick six in this game. I think he's going to take one to the house. I think he's going to jump one of those routes. I think he's instinctive, and he's physically elite. And so I would not be surprised at all if he baited a throw and got one and took it all the way back to the house. I was going to go just don't sleep on non-offensive touchdown in this game, but we'll get more specific since you like Chris Cole. I think it's a great pick, and I'll go Chris Cole pick six. We'll talk more about things that you should not sleep on, including back to the Texas quarterback room. We'll talk about that right after these.
It's FanDuel. It's simple.
It's FanDuel, guys.
Go to FanDuel.com.
What should they do then?
They should put in their money, make an account, take that money, and then
make a $5 wager.
$5 wager on Georgia money line.
Okay. That's an easy, and you're going to get more than $5 back on that wager. It's like plus 120 right now.
You're getting some juice back on that. Okay. I would put a little parlay in with that. I might even go ahead and sprinkle Penn State getting the points, go ahead, give me that. I would do a money line on Penn State just to hedge some bets of some chaos happening. Again, I'm
Listen,
not.
that first $5 wager, you want to win that one, because if you win that first $5
then?
wager, you get a bunch of bonus bets dumped into your account, $150 in bonus bets. So just don't do the parlay on the first $5 wager.
No.
That's for subsequent wagers.
Yeah.
First $5 wager, Georgia money line. You win. You take it to the bank. We're all fine. In fact, you could go Georgia plus the 2.5. You might be able to find a 3 by the time we get to kickoff. You know dang well everybody and their brother is going to be picking Texas to win this game. Nobody thinks we have a shot in this game. Get over to FanDuel right now, FanDuel.com, the official sportsbook partner of the Locked On Bulldogs podcast, the official sportsbook partner of Locked On Podcast Network, FanDuel.com, where you can make every moment more.
God dang woodpecker at my freaking window just trying to get in. Just what is going on? You know?
It's tis the season.
Tis the season. They are trying. All right, Daniel, some more things that we should not sleep on in this game. People are look, I know Vegas has given us points. I know come college game time, it's going to be a lot of Texas fans calling for Texas to win. Mm-hmm. I get it. I understand it. And the real ones who are talking about Texas's elite defense. Let me just stop you. Okay. Texas does not have an elite defense.
Whoops.
I don't know how to spell it out more simply than that. Yes, they have a high performance number defense. That's true. I go to the spreadsheet. I look at the columns. I see Texas up there.
There she is.
Again, football isn't played that way because then Army is one of the top 5 teams in the nation.
Oh,
do you see
when
how
they lose on Saturday, they're not even going to be ranked, and that's Notre Dame's only ranked win.
No. And then they're going to go bludgeon to death the other big win that Notre Dame has on the schedule, Navy. They're going to go absolutely joyless murder ball, maybe the following week.
Guys, you want to play Notre Dame in this playoff. That's all I'm trying to tell you. Win this game, Georgia fans. Just win it. Just win the game.
A lot of people talking about Texas's D being elite. They're not.
No, they're not.
Don't sleep on. If Georgia has more than 6 possessions in the first half, okay? Which, if the defense shows up and if Sark doesn't change, if things go according to what I think, and he wants to pass, don't sleep on Georgia having a double-digit lead heading into halftime. We get 4, 5, 6 possessions. We're scoring points on those. Remember, it's the Benz. It ain't outside. Kicking game is going to be a lot easier.
Let me stop you right there, Clint, because an Ohio State kicker once missed drastically to the left inside the Mercedes. Somebody must have opened a window or something.
Big ventilation came down. I think the stupid Falcon came swinging from the rafters on some.
Big rope. Ventilation. They're behind all this. Like all this, like duct tape. All this stuff, like sheet metal cost, big ventilations. All
it ain't even spelled DUCK. No. It's spelled DUCT. Freaking duck. What? Oregon. Okay. Don't sleep on Georgia being double digit if we get the possessions, because I think Mike Bobo's going to be as bad. Carson Beck is cooking. The running backs, Roderick being back is of massive importance. I can't.
Trevor Etienne's going to play in this game.
Sure. I'm fine with him playing in this game. He's fine with all of them getting about 6 carries each. I'm fine with that because it's going to be great. Don't sleep on Georgia if we get the possession.
Trevor Etienne screen game. By the way, imagine having so much time on your hands.
Okay.
And no one who wants to actually hang out with you. That you sit around and make fake graphics about people transferring to other schools, pretending to be a recruiting service. Guys, if you're falling for these fake transfer graphics, I'm saying this with love.
Please
get off the internet because you're not safe there. If you're going to fall for that, guys, get off the internet.
This is predatory out there and you're the prey.
Imagine having so much time on your hands that you would cook something like that up. Okay. Don't sleep on Arch Manning over 50 yards rushing in this game. Arch Manning is going to play, and he's going to play a lot. I don't know if it's going to be because Quinn Ewers stinks or because Steve Sarkisian comes to his senses. I hope it is the former. But Arch Manning's going to play. He is going to throw in this game, but he's going to run. And I've seen the Georgia defense before, and they're soft.
Very.
They're not good at stopping a mobile quarterback.
No.
At all. Arch Manning's going to have success running the ball against Georgia. And I think he's going to do it. I think he'll lead at least one touchdown drive by the end of this game. This is my follow-up. Don't sleep on. Okay. By the end of this game, Texas fans will know that Arch Manning's going to be the starter in their college football playoff game. This will be the game where Quinn Ewers officially loses his job. And again, it will either be because Georgia embarrasses him, which I hope, or it will be because Sark puts him in and it's like, oh, shoot, we ran through that Georgia defense like they were like a hot knife through butter. Like they weren't even there.
Do you remember when Arch came in against us in the first matchup, Daniel?
And he ran for like 25 yards right off the jump. Yeah.
I remember, and I was terrified, and I said, please, oh, please put Quinn Ewers back in, and they did.
And they
much
sure did.
To my
Arch Manning will come out of this game as the starter for Texas. My last don't sleep on is don't sleep on a continually overblown narrative that this is a Georgia home game. There are going to be, don't sleep on the amount of Texas fans that are going to be in that building.
Okay. SEC ticket prices are not high right now.
Don't sleep on the amount of Texas fans that will be traveling, that are so proud of themselves for making it into this game. They want nothing more than to win this SEC championship in their first year in this conference.
Yep.
Prove that they are the superior being. And the fact that this game is played in Atlanta as if that makes it a Georgia home game is absolutely laughable. First of all, look up Georgia's record in Mercedes-Benz Stadium and then tell me it's a Georgia home game. The narrative's going to be overblown. It's going to get talked about a lot. We'll see. Georgia fans, I hope we're over 50%. I hope that Georgia is over 50% in the game. But it would not surprise me if it's 50-50 or even a little Texas heavy in the Benz on Saturday afternoon, at least in the first quarter. I hope that by the fourth quarter, it'll be very red and black in there.
Yeah. Last don't sleep on, and it's a very simple one. This has to go down to me about two things. He did not play well in the last game that I saw him. Crossing routes were absolutely crushing him. But I think this has to do with a confluence of coaching decisions, playing time decisions, and what's happening, and then stepping up. I think young men that like competing, and stop me if you've heard this, Kirby Smart likes young men who like to compete, appreciate a challenge in front of them, and when it presents themselves, they rise to it. Now, this team, kind of to a fault, does that better than they do most other things. When they play down to their competition, it's ugly. Mississippi State, Georgia Tech. Turns out Georgia Tech's actually pretty good too. So that's not a slight on you, Georgia Tech. I'm just saying perception-wise, because you're a good team.
It kind of is.
It's two things to be true. Don't sleep on Daniel Harris having an absolute renaissance game this game, where he shuts fools down. He did not look good last game at all. He was behind passing routes. He was slow to pass off into the linebackers. He was slow in coverage. He didn't get his head around a number of times. But don't sleep on him rising to the challenge. Julian Humphreys said, I'm out of here because you've locked it down. I think that gives him a boost. And don't sleep on him absolutely stealing a ball from somebody's. And the screen game, we've seen him do this before, fight through a block and get down into it because he is physical. Julian Humphreys is not physical. Daniel Harris can
be. Not. He's soft.
He's soft. So don't sleep on that.
A lot of pre-snap motion got to us in that Georgia Tech game. I expect a lot of pre-snap motion in this Texas game. Steve Sarkisian will be watching, and so hopefully their boys are coached up. We will be back on Saturday night after the game. As always, bringing you the Overreaction Show, and so make sure that you tune in with us then. He is Clint, I'm Daniel, and we are the Locked On Bulldogs podcast. We'll see you guys then.
See you.